You are Locked On Knicks POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The NBA Cup continued tonight, and the Knicks had just a little bit of trouble with the rival Brooklyn Nets. A 22-point New York lead turned into a 1-point deficit with just seconds remaining. But get this combo of events. A huge shot from Jalen Brunson to give the Knicks the lead, followed by a huge block by the former Net Mikal Bridges. By the way, that came at the buzzer. And the Knicks escape amazingly in a wild one again. Final score from the Garden, 124-122. It's the first of two straight against Brooklyn, with the second game coming Sunday night, also at the Garden. Should be fun. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. You can follow me on X, as always, at Jay Berman. Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The postcast gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We'll chat everything Bridges and Anunoby, who are great tonight, along with Jalen Brunson, who hit the big shot. Without Karl Anthony Towns and Deuce McBride tonight, the bench stepped up. We'll discuss the rookies who made an impact. And despite a few tense moments, including a few moments that included the Knicks in the rearview mirrors of the Nets, meaning they did not have the lead, did New York. Despite that, New York is now 2-0 in the NBA Cup. All that coming up on the postcast. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And before we get started, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. As we said, an absolute wild finish for the second straight night. If you recall, or for the second straight game, the Knicks and Bulls right down to the wire several nights back. It featured a 124-123 Chicago win. Again, 124-123. Tonight, 124-122. The Nets take the lead at 122-121 with just seconds remaining. Brunson hits the three-pointer to give the Knicks the lead by 2. And then the former Net, as we said, Mikal Bridges with the block at the buzzer. And the Nets don't even hoist up the shot at the rim as the Knicks escape. And they even their record at 6-6. They're now 3-2 at home. The Brooklyn Nets have played 7 away games. They're 2-5 away and 5-8 overall. As for the numbers, we'll start with Jalen Brunson, who hit the big shot. Brunson played 34 minutes, 12 of 20 from the floor, pumped in 37, was 10 of 12 from the line. You know those free throws add up. And you know when you start missing them, it's going to come back to hurt you. And you know when you're making them, it's going to prove to be wise late in the game. All right, as we said, the Knicks had a comfortable 22-point advantage in the second half. In fact, they entered the fourth quarter up 18. Now, the Brooklyn Nets outscored the Knicks 40-24 in the fourth quarter alone. Obviously, they outscored the Knicks by 16. They were down by 18. I've done the math. That's a 2-point spread, and that's the exact number. The Knicks beat the Nets by 124-122. As we said, lots of minutes to distribute, with the exception of Jericho Sims, who played for Karl Anthony Towns tonight. In fact, there were two key injuries for the Knicks tonight. Karl-Anthony Towns, if you recall, late in the Bulls game, banged knees with a Chicago Bull defender. It is the reason why Cat sat out tonight. By the way, tonight also his 29th birthday, so happy birthday to Karl-Anthony Towns. And he did not play on his birthday. Again, sat out with a bruised knee. Also, Deuce McBride, who's been very key off the bench for the Knicks the last couple of weeks, sick tonight, so did not play. Also an injury for the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, Nick Claxton, their big center, has the bad back and was unable to play. So 41 minutes for Mikal Bridges, 39 for OG Anunoby. However, with 4 minutes to play, really 4.5, so over 4 minutes to play in the fourth quarter, when the Knicks led by 7. So it was already a point in the game where the Knicks had blown that big lead. He fouls out, his 6th foul. Again, Knicks led by 7 with 4.5 to play. 4 minutes later, they were trailing by 1. Amazingly, Anunoby still played 39 minutes and fouled out with 4.5 minutes to play. As we said, Jericho Sims spelled Karl-Anthony Towns in the starting lineup tonight, played just 18 minutes. Brunson, as we said, played 34. Josh Hart was a rebound and an assist shy of a triple-double. He pumped in 14, had 9 rebounds and 9 assists, also played 40 minutes. Now, we talked about the bench. We got to get into it because obviously with the injuries tonight to both Karl-Anthony Towns and Deuce McBride being sick, we were going to rely on the bench tonight. That's exactly what Tibbs did. Ariel Hukporti played, get this, 30 minutes. Had never scored a point in the NBA, now had 7 of them. Had 7 points tonight on 3 of 5 shooting. And again, he was terrific in the middle. Played 30 minutes. Cam Payne was also good. Hit a couple of 3-pointers. He played 19 minutes. Even Kolek and Dadier contributed as well off the bench. We did not see Matt Ryan tonight, who's gotten off to a slow start in a Knicks uniform. But again, Hukporti really was the story of the bench tonight. Once he replaced Jericho Sims, looked like Hukporti would play the rest of the game, and that's exactly what happened. Sims got the start, played just 18 minutes. Hukporti came off the bench, wasn't sure exactly how long he was going to go. Well, he got run for 30 minutes. So wonderful work there from both Tibbs to call on his rookies in Kolek, Dadier, and Hukporti. And they proved to be the difference in this one. All right, the Knicks had tremendous trouble tonight with Cam Thomas, who is as good a scorer as there is in the NBA. Thomas had 43. That's the most all-time by any net at Madison Square Garden. Again, he had 43. He had 19 in the first quarter, didn't miss a shot, 7 of 7 from the floor, 5 of 5 from 3. You figured this could be a 50-burger. He was taken out after the first quarter. Obviously, he played the entire first quarter. And guess what? To start the second quarter, after Jordi Fernandez replaced Cam Thomas, and probably for too long, Fernandez watched as the Knicks began the second quarter on a 9-0 run. And despite the fact that the Nets got back to within or took the lead by a single point, for most of the night, they could not recover from this deficit. So very interesting coaching by Fernandez, not only to take Cam Thomas out, but to leave him out for most of the first half of the second quarter. The Nets went scoreless for 4 minutes when they took out Thomas. And that was obviously a difference there in the first half. Thomas had 27 points in the first half. And as we said, 43, the most all-time by a net at Madison Square Garden. What's interesting about OG's night is he had 25 on 10 of 17 shooting while he fouled out. Well, he missed his first 6 attempts from 3. However, he made his first 6 from 2. Again, 10 of 17 from the floor, so he had 25. However, just 1 of 8 from three-point land. The Knicks as a team tonight were 13 of 38 for 34%. So that's obviously under the percent shooting that they've averaged so far. However, they did shoot 53% from the floor overall, 44 of 83, and they held the Nets to 43% shooting, 38 of 89. I saw something tonight in an NBA game I haven't seen in a while. In fact, I'm racking my brain to think of the last time I've actually seen it. Really, in any hoops game, at any level. We'll describe that and tell you what it was coming up next. All right, with Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risks. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. All right, one segment down. We're on to segment number 2 here on the Locked On Knicks postcast as the Knicks and Nets played the first of 2 straight at Madison Square Garden. And much like the Bulls several nights back, this was a game to remember. A 124-122 final score where the Knicks in the second half led by 22, entered the fourth quarter up 18, and with under a minute to play, they trailed by 1. So kudos to the Nets for not quitting. I had my narrative in my brain for what this game was going to be all about. And for the most part of the night, it was a breezy victory type narrative. Well, things changed quickly in the third and fourth quarter. Cam Thomas, as we said, 43 on 16 of 22 shooting. He had 16 field goals. The rest of the Nets had just 23. So really amazing stuff from Cam Thomas, who is turning out to be a Knick killer. Had 7 3-pointers, was 7 of 10 from three-point land as he pumped in 43. All right, I told you about what I saw tonight, and I hadn't seen it maybe ever. Zaire Williams of the Nets was frustrated with a play. This is late third quarter if you missed it. A ball went through the hoop, and he literally volleyball spiked it hard right past the face of Josh Hart. Instant technical. And I cannot remember the last time I saw that from an NBA player. I laughed, to be honest. All right, so now you have your first sight of the night. By the way, this was the NBA Cup opener for the Nets and the second East Group A game for the Knicks, who beat the Sixers on Tuesday, of course. And again, they did so tonight without Cat, without Deuce. Nick Claxton did not play for the Brooklyn Nets, still out with a bad back. He's going to continue to miss the next several games. All right, we have to discuss the schedule because, of course, it gets rough. Before we head out west, the Knicks will have Brooklyn one more time. That's Sunday night. That's a 7 Eastern time start at Madison Square Garden. Then on Monday, right back at it for another back-to-back as they wrap up the 4-game homestand at home against Washington. That is a 7:30 tip time. Again, that's Monday night going up against Monday Night Football. And for that matter, going up against Sunday Night Football as well. Again, Knicks play Sunday night and Monday night, and then we are off to the West Coast. Some late night basketball. Wednesday in Phoenix. Next Saturday, a week from tomorrow in Utah. Then they're in Denver, Dallas, And before they return home, they actually have to make a stop in Charlotte, which feels kind of ridiculous. But again, Phoenix, Utah, Denver, Dallas, that's the Western Conference portion of the trip. From Dallas, they go to Charlotte. From Charlotte, they come home. Again, the longest road trip of the year for the Knicks starts in Phoenix on Wednesday night. Phoenix, Utah, Denver, Dallas, and Charlotte should be a huge test for the Knicks. As we said, OG had 25 on 10 of 17 shooting. However, he fouled out with 4.5 minutes to play. Some questionable refereeing tonight, and we don't like to pick on the refs too much, but there were some questionable calls specifically in that third and fourth quarter. And of course, we had what felt like 10 challenges tonight. Very disruptive and really choppy tonight. Not a good flow. Even at the end, when things got exciting, it was a very choppy game, a lot of fouls, way too many reviews that took way too long. And it seemed like OG Anunoby was on the wrong end of at least 2 or 3 of those calls, of those switches, of those challenges. And obviously the last one was the nail in the coffin for his game as he fouled out after a review. All right, 25 for OG in the loss, in the win, despite fouling out. Mikal Bridges had 22 against his old team. It included 5 rebounds and 4 assists, and you could see tonight he was really pumped every time he hit a shot. Obviously, the huge block at the end to seal the deal. He was pumped tonight. Jericho Sims played just 18 minutes. Once Ariel Hukporti showed that he's a real live NBA center, no reason to play Jericho Sims. And yes, we're going to get Karl Anthony Towns back. However, perhaps Hukporti will spell Mitchell Robinson until Mitchell Robinson comes back. Of course, we still need to get Precious Ochoa back. And when we get Ochoa and Robinson back, that'll make the lineup even deeper and make guys like Hukporti and Dadier and Kolek and even Payne tonight more rested and therefore more useful. All right, as we said, we'll break down that schedule. We'll run through the numbers one more time on our final break of the night. You are watching the Locked On Knicks postcast. Knicks and Nets meeting at the Garden. All right, listen up, NFL fans. Now is your chance to start the season with a big return. Yep, you could do it with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So here's what you do when you have a hunch in the middle of the game. Go over to FanDuel, check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more. The best part is it's all on the same page where you place your bets. Everything is right there for you. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Again, FanDuel.com. All right, what a wild night for the Knicks it was. They beat the Brooklyn Nets 124-122, a quirk in the schedule, believe it or not. The Knicks and Nets will meet again Sunday night at the Garden. Back-to-back home games against the same opponent. Doesn't happen very often, but it's happening now. Of course, this is an NBA Cup game, or at least was tonight. The Knicks are now 2-0 in the NBA Cup. That was the Nets' first NBA Cup game of the season. They're obviously 0-1. Remember, those games are Tuesday and Friday. So the Sunday night game is not an NBA Cup game. That is a regular season game. So take note there. But again, the Knicks are now 6-6 overall, 3-2 at home after a 37-point all-star performance. In fact, we got chance of MVP for those late free throws from Brunson. That's even before he hits the game-winning three-pointer. Chance of MVP will be there all year long. Considering the way he plays and the way he's been playing and all the goodwill he built up last year in the playoffs, MVP chance will rain down from the Garden crowd really all season long. I don't see at any point, barring an injury and barring the fact, barring him not playing, it seems like those will continue. All right, we did have plenty of double-digit scores for the Knicks tonight. Bridges in double digits, OG in double digits, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. We told you about Josh Hart, who had 14 points tonight, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists So he was a rebound and an assist shy of a triple-double. That would have been nice. Hart led all players in playing time with 40 minutes. What's amazing about OG is he played 39 minutes and still fouled out with 4.5 to play. Again, 30 minutes from Ariel Hukporti, 12 from Pacome Dadier, both effective off the bench, specifically Hukporti, who was riled up, aggressive, tough, boxing out, grabbing rebounds. He was good. He had 4 rebounds and 3 assists and 4 blocks. He had 4 blocks on his own. The Knicks were averaging just 3 blocks per game total. He had 4 of his own. And again, had his first 7 points as a professional basketball player. Ariel Hukporti, 30 minutes, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks, filling up the stat sheet. Great stuff all around. All right, as we said, the Knicks wrap up their 4-game homestand with 2 more. A Sunday nighter up against football, a Monday nighter up against football. The Sunday nighter against Brooklyn, as we said, a 7 o'clock tip time. Washington Monday night at the Garden, 7:30. Then it's off to the West Coast. Wednesday, Phoenix. Saturday, Utah. Then Denver, Dallas, and Charlotte before we return home December 1st. And again, that'll be post-Thanksgiving, December 1st against New Orleans. By the way, the November 29th game where they wrap up against Charlotte in Charlotte, that's a noon game. That is a Black Friday game. So a noon start time, November 29th at Charlotte, as the Knicks will wrap up their killer season-long 5-game road trip. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. Also, before we get out of here, I want to mention our partners in crime over at Locked On Knicks, the best, Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf. They handle all the stuff again at Locked On Knicks. Follow, subscribe, and enjoy. And speaking of enjoying, that's what we got tonight from the Knicks. 124-122 in a wild, believe it or not, Knick comeback win. Yes, they were up 22 in the third, 18 going into the fourth. The Nets took the lead with under a minute to play. They were up 1. Jalen Brunson turns a 1-point deficit into a 2-point lead with 1 shot. Yes, folks, that's a 3-pointer. Followed by amazing defense from Mikal Bridges against his former team. A block shot at the buzzer preserves the win. 124-122. Knicks are now 6-6 overall, 3-2 at home, 2 more at home before we head out on the West Coast swing. Again, Brooklyn, Sunday night. We'll see you then.